windy in here, so it disrupts the recording. I made a couple of bird ornaments while I was teaching, and I made a borosilicate bird, but the ones that I made were very sensitive to the wind. So I'm not sure. Let's check it out. But I'm gonna also make some small sculptures, maybe like that little tiny dot in there. A little dancer bird.
Where do you get going here?
Sure. You want to talk? I'll talk a little bit about.
Well, cool, yeah. Thank you guys for all coming out for this demo. My name is Brian Jacobson. I'm the Flame Shop Director here. We were lucky enough to have Shane Fero out from North Carolina to teach a 5-day workshop this week. These were a lot of the items made during the week. We were lucky he worked on borosilicate glass, lead glass, which is what they use for neon, hot shot glass, and also a Freddy. So 4 different types of glass. I believe Shane has over 57 years of glass working experience. So it was a big, great learning opportunity. Yeah, just want to say thank you all for coming out, supporting the school, and seeing the free demo. If you feel inclined, by the end of the demo, we have a donation box. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, so any donations are encouraged, and we appreciate you coming out and showing support. And I think without further ado, I'll hand the mic over here to Shane.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, this is my 3rd time teaching here. The last time I taught here was in 2005, so quite a while ago. I think this is my 5th time teaching. Anyways, I started as an apprentice in Florida at 15 years old. Started doing some odd jobs for a plane working couple that were actually 3rd generation. And I did it through high school and college. And then they left and another guy took over and I worked for him. So I worked, eventually I worked at Cypress Gardens, Florida. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it was an attraction before Disney. And my job there was to be a demonstrator, so I was a teenager demonstrating and talking. I had no problem talking to people at all. And at the same time, I was going to community college and working, and that's how I paid my tuition. When I moved to the Adirondacks, I was asked to come up there when I was 21 and help run a shop at Santa's Workshop in Otoe, New York. Decided to make this mom. And I was really on sabbatical for my job, but I fell in love with the mountains there. And I was a glass blowing elf, basically. And I had really long hair, and I shoved all my hair up into the elf cap. And one day, one of the elf women came in, and I looked at her, and it's like I was in love. And so I told my boss, I love the mountains, and I love this girl, and I'm not coming back to Florida. So I stayed, and I enrolled into one of the SUNY universities, Plattsburgh. And actually, in college I was a philosophy major. But I actually, I was continuing to work in glass, and that's how I paid for my college education. I opened my own gallery when I was 24 years old with 2 apprentices in Plattsburgh. And after 8 years of kind of apprenticeship or journeymanship, I was all of a sudden released to make whatever I wanted. So I kind of tended to go more towards artistic things rather than like just tourist items. And I started making abstract sculptures and redesigning all the things that I made. Started making all kinds of animals and birds. Birds I made back then were just small, solid birds, and I mounted them on wood. Made these little scenes of it, things like that. So anyways, since that time, I moved in 1990. I moved to Penland School of Crafts. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. In 3 years, it'll be 100 years old. And it was started by a woman who's an educator and was a weaver. And in 1929, she decided to teach the mountain women who was the depression how to weave so they had supplemental income. And since that time, then different mediums were added. The last program was added in about 1966. And then I moved there in 1990. I helped set up the full flame working program that we got there. Because of this, taught on 4 continents, lots of workshops, exhibited kind of places. Mostly, I just sell out of galleries, Allison's Gallery, and I have my own website. So I'm just, I can probably project my voice enough while I'm working and tell you what I'm doing. Thank you. So, flame working, it used to actually be called lamp working, and it could go back to ancient Egypt where when they were pulling glass, that they made beads, head beads, and chloroform vessels, and drew on it. It could go way back. But as far as sort of modern flame working, it's about almost 400 or 500 years old. And it's basically using a torch to keep glass rather than burn. So probably some of the earliest torches were kind of like a jewelry torch where you had a gas and then you augmented that with some air to increase the heat. I mean, we have quite a few prints and stuff from 1600s and stuff. One of the interesting things is, unlike glass blowing, until the last 20 years or so, where there's been more women actually were flame throwers. And so there's a long history to it. Also, in 1988, having flame work for a long time, I had the idea that I wanted to do hot glass and mix what I do with hot glass, drawing on pieces before they're blown out, adding things, stuff like that. And back then there wasn't a whole lot of that being done. And so I continued to do that, make large pieces that are a combination of flame working and hot glass. And also, I do a little casting with raw specs technique. Then I'm a painter. So I like painting because of the colors and it kind of mirrors what I'm doing in flame working and kind of feed off of each other. So basically in flame working you have 2 basic techniques. One is that you blow things from tubes. Yes. You could blow vessels, you can blow bombs, I don't know. You can blow animals, birds, all kinds of things. And then you also have solid rods that you augment by coloring them on the tubes and powders as well. And so actually it's kind of a twofold thing. You use solid and you use hollow. So really it's kind of like miniature glass blowing, basically. If you have questions as I'm working along, feel free to ask.
What COE do you use?
What?
What COE?
Well, this COE is 93.5, but I can work any of the colors that you use in the furnace. Cooler, Microbob, Gambler, whatever. I also can work borosilicate, I can work bentrate rigidity, I can work bullseye, and flame working. They're all different and they have different, characteristics basically. So, first thing I'm going to do is, so this is what you call pulling a point. Basically, I'm going to heat this up. And what I want to do is have an extended thing of this on the center. And that's going to, one side's going to be my blowpipe and the other side will be my flame. So this is off kilter here, so I've got to get this back on the center before I pull this out. There's really not that many people that use this equipment last time. Most people have switched to Fero. As you probably know, people in the bead world use Fetray. Right? So this requires very good dexterity with your hands, coordination between your hands and your body and your breath. When you coordinate with the blood. So this is almost perfect here. You can see that this isn't wobbling, so it's turning, you know, into a central circle basically, and that's important. So during the workshop, I was teaching my students how to take points. And the next thing I'm going to do is, if these tubes, not so much in borosilicate like in this glass, if there's a lot of moisture in this tube, I have to chase it out to crack the glass. So now I'm at the end of this thing, okay? So I have to pull a point from the other side. Now I'm from the mountains of North Carolina, so we have a lot of moisture in the air. So the last couple of days have been a little bit much, but I've been here before. You guys are used to it, right? So this is, I'm going to plenty the end of this so I can pull this out like the inside. Also, flame working is also used in laboratory glass, scientific forms. So most of the things that I make, except if they're clear, just one color, especially like my birds, are really done from a painterly perspective. I'm not really super influenced by glass as much as art history. So I paid a lot of attention to painters, what they were doing, and so that's how I approach everything I make. I approach it like canvas, tube is canvas. So this is a little off, so I'm just going to kind of center this here on the side. I think the wind is pretty good here. Not bad. It's not bad.
Turn off the coolers to get the thermostat too.
Is that?
I'm gonna turn off the coolers to need a thermostat.
Okay. It would be nice if I could make it better. I don't know. So, I don't know if you've seen the color bars that they use to blow glass with here. So, this is the same kind of glass, but it's in powder form or frit form. And then all these colors, I pull myself on a torch out of, on a torch from the color bar. Didn't make that pour over, but or silicon. There's a little bit of air. Sometimes I'll put as many as like 8, 10 layers of color and different colors on top of each other. In this case, I won't be doing. Each time I add color to it, it's making the wall thickness.
Is that color you're using now strike at all, or is it
It's, yeah, it's the Irish orange. You weren't around when I took photos of how I used 2 colors to get all these different colors, but reducing it, changing it, it turned into gold. It's kind of harder to do. It's easier to do if you're using the rocks, sculpting with the rocks. And that's why the bead makers like it. You know, and it's a right rock color. It's a silver color. Okay. One more layer on here. At home, I literally have probably 300 colors. Couldn't bring them all here. On my work table, I may have like 50 plates like this around. Sometimes I have an idea of a bird that I want to make, but then I have all these color options. It's my
every single bird, I started making the birds in 2002, and every single bird I make is completely different. So it's a series, but it's a ritual series.
It's a growing series.
Yeah.
Do you use mostly Reichenbach?
Or Kugler,
Google?
and Gapper, but we have to go back. Put a little coffee brown on there. Now I'm gonna use a little bit of lipstick red. Did you turn it off? Well, it didn't really help it. Red. And black.
So you try for many reactions.
Pardon?
Do you try for many reactions?
Oh yeah. You know, every time you introduce a color, you may already have a color. The interactions chemically between the colors are different ones or not. So yeah, I mean, I guess I've been using these colors for 45 years. Occasionally there's new colors and you see different. Yeah, this Irish orange is 40 new in here. So each time I'm adding things, I'm trying to keep the original shape on the point. I don't know if you can see this, but you see some of the colors are breaking up all right a little bit here, like reticulating. And see, because the colors, their chemical composition, they also have a different viscosity in each other. So they will, one will be hard and one will be soft, so they interact in weird ways with each other. So you have to experiment and know what you're going to do. Now I'm going to start drawing on it. It's almost like drawing with a pencil or a paintbrush, like you're using glass. Go ahead and see if it affected and seems better. Make it hotter for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. Bring out the swamp machine. So the other thing too is like, okay, when I put the powders on, you know, I was picking them up so they were uniform, but now I have these dots. Like, if I glue this out right now, it'll come out completely wrong. Because, you know, there's different wall thicknesses. So I am going to fuse it all the way in. So Lori, there's a lot of people that collect my birds. There's some people that have 50, 30.
Yeah, I have a husband.
I'm not necessarily encouraging you. I mean,
Oh, believe me, it's a
Because
lot I like.
people just keep going on and on.
Mm-hmm. Allison likes to encourage us.
I'm sure she's pretty too much.
She is.
This is the first time I actually met her. I talked to her for a while. And I got to go to the gallery last night and see it. I mean, I knew the old gallery.
Did they gorgeous though?
It is. And once I melt this down, I'm going to evaluate how I like how it looks. You know, the thing is, I have to anticipate how all that decoration is going to look when I blow it out. It's not going to look the same as right now. And I'm almost getting it back to shape, but I'm going to add some more to it. I have a special white that stays a fine line or a dot. Called a Duro color. And it's made a lot for doing cane work. You want to do Botticello or that kind of stuff.
That's not the white you use for the second go.
What's that?
Is that the white that you use the moment ago on those smart cups?
Which one?
Didn't you use white a moment ago on some of those like larger dots?
No, it's different.
Oh,
That was an enamel white.
okay.
Right to go.
So is that white denser?
Its denser has a different composition to make it tight. Actually, this one is made in New Zealand by Gaffer. Part of the chemical composition is lead and arsenic. But my friend Mark Weiser developed one that's titanium based. You know, Jason knows them because he uses them in his work.
Mm-hmm.
They're slightly different the way they act. You can see the like those dots stick up. It's a while to heat them back down into the other ones. They're compatible, but just act. So what do you think, Brian? Should I just go for it and if it cracks, it cracks?
Go for it.
I'm for it.
Got one more set of coolers you can turn on too. Make it really spill. Yeah.
Bring a lighter over and try to keep on the light. That's what it was.
So, yeah, the problem with the birds is that the torch has to be very steady and not going this way. When I put the first leg on, it's fine, but the second leg, after the first leg, if it goes in the wrong direction, comes through, it'll crack the bird. So we'll see. I'm willing to do it. But I'm just warning you.
It's gonna be hot.
I mean, even in my controlled studio, sometimes it happens. Not every attempt is successful, no matter how big you are.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing now is I'm going to pull this down. This is going to be the tail of the bird. That seems fine. So I have to separate the tail and the head, so it's kind of three defined areas where I'm going to blow and not blow. So that's the tail. Now I'm going to pull this out, and this will be the head.
Do you ever have problems traveling on airlines with bags of powder?
With what?
With all your glass powder?
No, not too much. I used to have trouble with my torches, even pre 9/11. For one thing, the torches have a residual propane smell, and they have equipment to determine that. No, what I do traveling overseas, because I go overseas a lot to teaching, I put a note and say, I'm teaching this workshop like I did here. They went through it. We went through it. I've had them pull a couple of things, but it wasn't like that. These bags of white powder are cocaine, by the way. PSA, if you want to know. Okay, so this is going to be the body of the bird. But I have to blow from this way, so I'm going to reopen this side. Change the blowpipe back. This is now the plenty, and this is the blowpipe for now, anyways.
So is that the advantage of working with hollow?
Yeah, I mean, you can change it back and forth depending on what you're doing. But I mean, you can do that with oxide. Okay, now, depending on how I heat this part, will determine, and as I blow it and sculpt it as I'm blowing it, where I'm heating it will determine kind of the shape of it too. When I go to blow it, I'm going to actually stand up. would have thought that it looked like that. Of course, that black and white's so hot.
Want me to have that needle ready for you, or you?
No, I don't do that. No, I mean, I plain needle. But thank you, sir. You know what you could do is make the top. Okay, so this is going to be the head. And if you try, just like sitting at the bench, try to keep everything on access. You know, turning on the bench.
Let me have the scissors on until you do the feet. We want to keep them off.
You can turn it on for now, but pretty soon I'm actually going to do the legs. So maybe not. So in plane working, I mean, you can use rollers and things like that, but basically your hands are the bench. So I'm changing the angle on this, tilting it this way so I have this. If I do in a vessel, you keep it on the center of all the time. So now I'm going to heat this up and flatten this area to be scale. Now again, I'm going to change blow pipe. Because I have to be able to blow. Another good idea is to fire polish this head here so you don't stick in your mouth and your lip. backing up the gas and the oxygen. It's not dangerous or anything. It's kind of just finicky inside storage. It's just irritating. Got my lip. Okay, now here comes the hard part in the blades. So basically what I'm going to be doing is blowing into this blown form and using a solid rod, doing a solid to hollow seal to establish the layers. It is the hardest part. stress was too late, so I'm flame annealing this for about 2 minutes before I go on. And if I didn't do this, I might have only a 60% success rate. And you can see this carbon forming on it. Something cool about the flame and other materials too. If I just use straight propane, it won't shock the glass. That's a shock property. I actually can warm this up or cool it down. Here's so yeah, it's like a natural law. So when the carbon forms on this, it means it's gone below the strain point of the glass. When the carbon dissipates, it's above the strain point. So it's just kind of a natural.
So it will
Weird.
just dissipate by itself?
Well, with the heat.
Yeah.
In this case, it won't dissipate because I'm not going to get it all hot again. I don't think. What I'm going to do is I'm going to deal with the head, and I'm going to let it cool, and wash it off in the sink, and all the carbon will be removed. But if you put this in the annealer, it will go away.
That's a fun watch.
What's
You're
that?
like, when you're done with it, you're like cleaning it up and just teaching all the other doing review feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I remember there was some student that, I don't know what she did, we had Penland one year. She was flaming ill, she had this big table full. She's like, I just love this. And I wasn't the teacher, but I was like, well, yeah, I know that you're getting to wash it all off. You know, in painting watercolors, my wife was making inks like from black walnut or pink one. I've been thinking that I should remove this and make a, you know, an ink black.
Talking to a hot rod airbrush, you said he was assembling on cars. Do that, put a design and a clear coat over it.
Really?
Yeah, paint the car.
So this could be the best piece I made here. It looks pretty good.
When you put your feet on it.
Well, this is the thing. Now I want you to imagine this. Think of this. So, I've got this honey in the tail. Right? It's kind of awkward. Could you imagine putting my tiny feet down while it's like this?
No, that's fine.
Some people think so. No, when this cools down, after I do the head, eyes, and the feet,
Yeah.
I let it cool down. Then I'm going to take the tail off, and then I can hold it by my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's going to be a little break here for me to finish this. And this is going to have to cool down. Maybe you want to have a refreshment, some water.
You always do the legs before the face.
What's that?
You always do the legs before the eyes.
Yes. You really have to. I mean, I imagine you do it. So at this point, I didn't hear anything crack. So I'm pretty sure that it's, yeah, I'm 95% sure that it's made it, which is great. This may be the greatest demo at a school of a bird I've ever done.
Best flavor bird all day.
Huh?
Best flavor bird you've had.
Well, I know, my students make pretty good ones. And the E-Fundy made some. Right, Alan?
We all got pretty close.
I kept cracking though.
Huh?
I didn't do the sequence, but I kept cracking. Also, my flame was a crystal. It's tiny.
Your flame?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's what I was trying to
Yeah.
say.
Oh, that makes sense.
So now, what I was talking about flame working. I've got to slowly keep it back up because it's kind of cooled down, and I have to wait until I feel that it's okay for me to heat it back up slowly because I can still shock the head, so I'll be really careful. By the way, we have a donator who donated the glass from this neon business here, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Because this glass is kind of hard to get, and it's very expensive if you do get it, right?
Steve also has a plasma filling apparatus. We've been working on plasma sculptures here. We're going to be offering a class in May. You can come make your own plasma sculptures.
That's awesome.
If anyone's interested in that, it could be a class,
Yeah.
2-day workshop. Still getting all the details hammered out, but we'll get the emails out.
Now I can see the carbon dissipating.
Yeah, right at the end there.
And I want that because that means I can work it again. Now I have a funny anecdote. I actually made glowing birds when I was younger. I learned how to make them, but they're really kitschy. Very small craft. One thing I really hated about them was, but maybe the shape or what it was, but they just put a blob through the eyes, like bug eyes. I always hated that, so I avoided it. So this is what I did to make it sort of realistic. I'm gonna not be alright. And hopefully it matches both sides with the same density of glass. And I have this little eye tool that hooks around the eye. So I heat around where the eye is to get the glass a little bit hot. And these tools come from Tandy Leather. You have a Tandy Leather here. There's a lot of things, these tools are great for glass, but they don't have many brick and mortar anymore. So I just got them off the internet. I mean, I've been in the internet. So here we're going to do the same thing.
We call it bird eye.
No, I forget what it's called. It's probably called Slow Mama. A lot of bikers use, or they get candy leather stuff. Okay, so now we're gonna do the sleeves. And there's different kinds of beaks you can make. Still determining what I want to do. And I gotta keep those eyes hot too. I think I know. Very, very gentle. Nice. And then now I have to flame anneal this, but we're not from long. Maybe count to 75. No, you don't know that. I will. Yeah, this doesn't require as much delay, but it's still a sensitive stress area. up to 850, but then I turn back down. It's a lot lower than other furnaces.
What do you think that flame is? 700, 900?
The flame?
Yeah, the orange one.
Yeah, probably. Not enough to move it once. It will move it, like if you have really thin rod or a thin heavy tube. You would eventually start bending. You know, I've actually done little tiny sculptures.
That bullseye or?
Anything.
Yeah.
Probably a feather is better. I mean, it's not really great stuff. And actually what you do is, this is the idea behind the jewelry courses. The air. So you have a candle there and you gently blow over the candle top and essentially.
Try it sometime, that's-
It's a good party trick when you're drinking.
I saw a goldsmith video that he had a propane torch and a straw and that little soap
Yeah.
blowing on his mouth.
Yeah. I mean, the flame workers, even in, like, well, there's a few people in the Czech Republic that still use them. But what they used to use is they had a table like this and they had a lamp. That's what I used to call it. We changed it to flame workers because people thought we were fixing lamps. So, what they had is some kind of fuel source, either like whale oil or something, just like in a little dish. And we had generally like a bellows system underneath the table that they pumped. And it had a diaphragm there which gave the air pressure that was mixed with the glass. I mean, I tried one. I got one. They had one. They got ready for me. I think it was from the Czech Republic. I said, hey, why don't you work on this? And you put alcohol in it. And I made some stuff like that. I mean, you can probably see the flash does work, right? Either flowers. Yeah, that's what they were using. I tried it, but I mean, I was like, I don't know. I'd hire an apprentice. I didn't want to do it.
You said that the Japanese class is closer to 140 COP?
Yeah.
Hey, the Japanese course.
They, the torches that they use for that are kind of like Bunsen burner, where it's air, heat gas. Okay, so that's good for now. If you want to take a little break, it's going to take probably 10 minutes. You want to stick around and finish it. That was hot.
If you're interested in doing flame working classes, I'm the director for there. We have our items over here. We do some make your own. And we offer also fundamentals classes and switch up classes every couple months. We're doing a shot class next month. We've done two straws, vortex marbles. If you have any questions, please ask.